Folks, how's it going? Ben here with today's Misguided Mentors, episode 3, and I'm super excited to jump right into this. Obviously, there's some new news that just came out about John Legere's lawsuit that Grant Cardone put on him, and then John putting out an apology letter. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to talk about Scientology. I'm going to talk a little bit about this, a little bit about that. I'm also going to put the chat here, so if you guys want to chat at any time, feel free to type it in on the YouTube channel, and I'll be able to see that and respond to that as well. But let's just jump right into this. I got so much to talk about, and I just want to jump right into it. So first of all, I woke up this morning and was really shocked to see that John Legere had publicly made an apology post. And then, of course, I got sent a bunch of different messages, personal messages and texts from different individuals, just because I got a lot of people who support me and what I'm doing and are always interested in hearing me talk about these things. And so I appreciate that to everybody who's keeping me in the loop on that stuff. But yeah, I woke up this morning and there's just a ton of links directing me to the apology letter. And it looks like Grant Cardone posted it on his own page. I can't see that because Grant blocked me. But however, I have my ways of finding things out. And so I seen that. And so I seen that it was just everywhere. And to be quite honest, my first initial reaction was I was disappointed. Very disappointed to see that because in my opinion, it looks like Scientology has gotten to John and they put the fear in him. And I didn't think that was going to happen. I did not think that was going to happen, especially based on the type of comments that John was making on Clubhouse, when this all originally happened, which I'm gonna brush up on that original post. I'm gonna actually show you some clips of why the lawsuit even happened to begin with, because I think it's important to give some context for the people who just didn't know, that have never heard it or whatever. I think it's important to give some context because it shows the emphasis and the conviction that John had initially. And it seemed like he was never going to go backwards on this. Like, those were his real thoughts, in my opinion. That's really how he felt about Grant and what he thought. So to see this fake apology letter, this is complete bullshit. It's not really his thoughts. And you can tell just by the way it's even worded that was something that was just conjured up by one of his lawyers and part of some type of settlement deal, if I had to guess. Now, why he chose to settle, I don't know. Again, I'll get into that a little bit more, but in my opinion, it is part of a settlement, it looks like. But John has money from what I can tell and what I hear. The guy did very, very well for himself. So I don't think it has anything to do with money. So that only leaves one other option. They put fear in him somehow, some way. And that's a lot of power to be able to force somebody to make that type of public apology when there was no money involved. I can almost guarantee that John did not make that apology letter for money. There's just no way, unless he's really broke. But I don't think that's the case, especially because some of the claims he was making to Grant is that Grant was self-proclaimed billionaire, and he actually wasn't a billionaire, which was the whole basis of the lawsuit to begin with. So, let's I'll get into that here in a second. But what I will say is that, so let's start with this. What do I think? First of all, I hate Scientology. All right, I hate all cults, but Scientology I hate the most because after being involved with Grant Cardone. As a personal 10x business coach for his organization, I found out after voluntarily leaving that organization, I found out that I was in fact being turned into a Scientologist without me even knowing it. And so I was pretty pissed off, and I can see how deep the deception and the manipulation actually goes. And it's quite scary. It's very scary. And I can see, since I've left and become a little more aware and a little more educated on how Scientology does this, they got some power. Unfortunately, they got some power. Their roots run deep within a lot of different industries, from the news to Hollywood, showbiz, the self-development space. They really are spread out, and they got their reach in different areas, which is very unfortunate. I'm going to tell you guys this right off the bat. I don't care who tries to sue me. Grant can try to sue me all he wants. Anybody could try to sue me. I am not going to go backwards on the things that I say. I promise you that. Clip this, mark it, stamp it. I don't care. Repurpose it. You will never see me go backwards on a statement that I make, and I'm going to hold true to the things I say. I'm most certainly not going to make a public apology. I don't care if they offer me $100 million to do that. It's just simply not going to happen. I'm trying to help people, and money's not going to buy. I'm not going to sell my soul and give that up, give up helping somebody and sell my soul in that process. So it's really unfortunate. Like I said, I'm super passionate about, this and being upset about John going backwards and backpedaling, because it's like, dude, those are your real thoughts. Like, why would you even make a fake apology like this? Of course, the damage is already done because it really has brought a lot of eyeballs to Grant Cardone and the 10X industry, which is also why I like the fact that Gary Brecka is doing the same thing, because you'll see a guy like me talking about it all day long, and other people, Rebecca Hamilton talking about her experience, and this person and that person who doesn't really have like a huge following and a lot of credibility socially, right? But when you see someone like Gary Brecka or John talking, it gets a little more interest. It piques a little more interest, and the binoculars are kind of scoping in on these situations a little bit more. So I guess at least John did that for a period of time. But it is unfortunate to see that the fear was put in him by Scientology. And so it's just very unfortunate. It really pisses me off. So what is Scientology good at? I'll tell you. Scientology is very good at putting pressure on people. I've noticed that. The other thing that they're really good at specifically is Scientology is really, really fucking good at making people do things that they don't want to do. That is their superpower. They are so good at making people do or manipulating and brainwashing people. If they can't force you to do it, they're going to manipulate you into doing something that you don't want to do. And Scientology, I've noticed, is like super good at that. They're really good. They're masters at that. That's their craft. And so it's irritating. To me, it's super freaking irritating. So I've noticed that, and I definitely have no doubt Scientology is behind settling that lawsuit and getting John to publicly say all those things that he said and praising Grant. So I think it's important to give some context into how this all started. Again, for the people who didn't even know why Grant was suing John to begin with, or they just haven't heard it in a while. I think it's hilarious to hear because it speaks truth, and I can feel John's passion in the statements that he's making and how he's calling Grant out. So I'm going to go ahead and play some clips, original clips, not the entire thing, obviously, because it's pretty long, but I will play some clips regarding that just to give context to the people who are playing catch up. And again, like I said, I like hearing it just because it's kind of a nice refresher. But if you look at John's apology letter now, and then you look at the fact and feel like the emphasis and the passion and the conviction he has within these statements that he's calling Grant out for, complete night and day. So it's really a shocker to hear that someone is backpedaling this hard, because he went way harder in talking to Grant and confronting him on a live channel, and it felt like that was real. There's the undeniably, those were his real thoughts, and that's how he felt about it. So this apology is fake. It's not real, and it's very unfortunate to see. But so I'm going to use Aaron Smith-Levin's clips, because he already clipped a couple good spots. Aaron's a good friend of mine. I jumped on his podcast, if you didn't catch that one, where we talked about Scientology and, of course, my involvement with the 10X organization as a 10X business coach for several years, and how Scientology is related. So I'm going to go ahead and click it. Actually, you know what? Before I do that, I'm going to read you the actual apology letter, and we're going to start with that really quick. So let's take a quick look at this. It's so small. I got to look really hard. All right. So this is the apology letter that John gave, right? And Grant posted this on his channel. Here's what John said. I thought, and this was posted yesterday, I have thought about the statements I made about Grant Cardone in June 2023, and on reflection, I regret making them. I apologize to Mr. Cardone, his wife, Elena Cardone, both his children, Sabrina Cardone and Scarlett Cardone, Mr. Cardone's fans and followers, partners, investors, and to any person who may have been influenced by my statements. I ask that those who elected to redistribute and use the comments I made about Mr. Cardone as clickbait or headlines take those recordings down. Mr. Cardone's life story is admirable, and I respect his hard work to provide services to his customers and opportunities to Main Street investors. I look forward to watching Grant's continued progress in business and investing. Sincerely, John Legere. Obviously, it doesn't get any more phony than that. I mean, in my opinion, there's nothing authentic about that. That's such a cookie cut apology right there. And unfortunately, I can feel John's pain because he's having to say something that he doesn't want to do. And again, going back to my opinion, Scientology is very good at making people do something that they don't want to do. And this is an example of that. And I bet John is really, beating himself up and super upset at himself for having to do that because he feels like a very strong-willed guy. He feels like he's very passionate. It feels like he's got a lot of conviction and he believes the things that he believes. He also seems like he's got a good heart. He's also open-minded to being wrong. And so I don't think that he thinks he's wrong in this case. So that is that. Now let me play you the clip that, of course, you guys that are following me on Instagram, you're not going to be able to see these clips. And so I encourage you to join my YouTube channel. It's Today's Misguided Mentors. Pop on over there. I'll be able to see your live comments and also you'll be able to see my screen as well. So let's go ahead and hear these clips here on Aaron's podcast when he originally covered this story. And let me see if I can make sure that I get the clips and do this as quick as possible. So this is the original Clubhouse audio that was captured that sparked Grant Cardone to sue John Legere. All right, so listen to the things he's saying, and I'm gonna even write some little notes because I always have thoughts that come to me as I'm talking in real time. So let's get rocking and rolling.
Why are you trying to diminish everybody in the room?
No, just you, Grant, because you're a fucking con man. I'll say this on this room right now. I believe that in the next year, Grant Cardone will be found guilty of fraud. I believe that Grant Cardone will be found guilty of fraud, and I want nothing to do with it.
John, do you know of anybody that I have been fraudulent to?
I think you're a fake, somebody that says I used to be an addict, and I think you're fake. That's my opinion.
But thank you. But you've never done business with me. You've never given me.
And I wouldn't do business with you, Grant. You've been begging me to do business with you for 5 years, and I won't.
I don't think I've ever offered you any money to do anything or any partnership.
By the way, he's not a billionaire. Yeah. He doesn't have close to $1 billion, and he is somebody.
How do you know
somebody here. He's somebody who is self-promoting. And if you go to the world of CNBC, go to CNN, go to the world, ask about Grant Cardone. He doesn't exist.
How do you know what I'm worth, John?
How do I know what you're spending under the radar to live your lifestyle?
Boom. All right, so that's just one clip. I'm just gonna basically just stop this as I'm just to give my real time thoughts here. What's up, Sweet Goth? Thank you so much. How's it going? Again, Hail Xenu is what people are saying in the Scientology Sea Org organization. So to what John was saying, first of all, he was saying, I've never done business with you. How can you say that? You don't know anything about me. Well, I can speak to that. I've done business with Grant. I spent over $200,000 with Grant, and I think he's a fucking con. I think he's a fucking fraud. And so I will publicly say that as well. I've been saying that, obviously. Now, of course, I'm not going to be getting a lot of heat. I haven't yet because I don't have a huge following. So that's cool, and I'm fine with that. But the few people that I have helped, I'm okay with because it doesn't matter if I help one person or 1,000. I'm helping people in one way or another, and waking people up is the way I help people. Sharing my story is it's my opinion. You know what I mean? Like, I'll say whatever I want, and if I've experienced it, I'm going to give you my thoughts. I'm going to give you my genuine thoughts, and I'm not going to backpedal on that. So I don't care. Try to sue me. you're never going to see me put an apology out like this. You're going to hear me stay true to what I said. And I don't give a shit how much you try to threaten me. Do your worst. I'll say that. Like physically try to come get me, try to attack my bank account, try to threaten to throw me in jail. You're not going to stop me from helping people. Let's put it that way. So anyways, so to what he said, I've done business with him. He was basically trying to discredit John because he hasn't done business with him. Well, I'm going to just publicly say I have done business with him, and he's full of shit, and he is a con man and a fake. Everything I've ever bought from him, he never delivered on the things that he promised, and all of it was bullshit and actually did not help me. And matter of fact, if you were on my Instagram live the other day, ironically, a guy named Jared hopped on the Instagram live who follows me and I follow him. He was the guy who sold me the first 10X product, which was Cardone University. Now, seems innocent, right? But the thing about it was he sold me a 3-year contract for about $17,000 or $18,000 of Cardone University. Not one account, but 10 Cardone University accounts for my company. I only had 2 employees in the business, and I was the only sales rep. So the other employee was a laborer. He was never going to use Cardone University. And somehow, again, I told you Scientology is great at getting people to do things they don't want to do. I emphasized to them, I don't need this. I don't want it. I don't want to spend that. But somehow they got in my head and convinced me that I needed it and that I needed to manifest it. And by manifesting, I would need to buy the 10 accounts first. And then after that, I would start getting the sales reps to fill those accounts. That didn't happen. Okay. It was all bullshit, and it was conning, and it was manipulation and deception at its finest. So they're really good at that. And unfortunately, I got a taste of that, and I experienced that. And so I can speak to that as well. Let's keep hearing some of this clip here. This is funny. This is too good. Again, you can hear how passionate he is about this, right? It doesn't sound like these are not his genuine thoughts.
Are you a billionaire?
John, what do you know about my
Here's your chance, Grant. Are you a billionaire? Yes or no? Are you a billionaire? Tell the group. Hey, Grant, your profile says you're a billionaire. Are you a billionaire?
John, I'm not going to even answer your questions right now.
Are you? Are you close?
Until you answer some of mine, I'm not going to answer yours, okay?
Let the group know that a very simple statement is Grant Cardone a billionaire? Yes or no? He won't answer.
Well, it'd be hard for me to state that. I don't know how I could state that publicly and it not be true without having banks come back and say, bro, what are you doing?
So you know what the answer is, Grant? You're not.
John,
assets versus debt. With a market at 7% mortgage rates, how you doing?
John,
oh my God, giving him absolute shellacking.
So first of all, what the hell? He said, dude, it seems so wishy-washy of Grant. First of all, he didn't even answer the question, all right? First he asked him flat out. John was like, are you a billionaire? And he said, I'm not going to answer the question. John was emphasizing, like, your profile says you're a billionaire. And not only that, from what I've observed, and the whole reason why I ever did business with Grant was because he was a self-proclaimed billionaire. I didn't know he was self-proclaimed. He said he was a billionaire, and for some dumb reason, I believed him. But he talks about it all the time. Everybody else in that organization that works for him also claims, oh yeah, I work with a billionaire because of this. Like it's always dropped. Like it's always flexed. It's always postured that Grant is a billionaire by himself and everybody that works with him. And yeah, exactly. It was to your point, Sweet Goth. You were saying it was my limiting beliefs. Exactly. And I'm assuming you're talking about why I bought the what do you call that? The 10X accounts. Sorry, I'm trying to adjust this here. The 10X Cardone University accounts. Yeah, exactly. It was my limiting beliefs. But yeah, so I don't know what Grant's talking about. He's like, well, it'd be hard for me to say that and not have the banks come for me. What? That's not even, then if it'd be hard for you to explain that, then you wouldn't put it on your profile. You wouldn't say it every 10 seconds also. So I don't buy it. It's bullshit. And it's fine. I don't care about the guy's bank account, but, I'm like John, like don't be making claims like this, that you're this, you're that, you're constantly flexing. when it's all bullshit. And if it's not bullshit, then be confident in continuing to promote it and say it. Like, let's not hold back, man. Like, you already opened the floodgates. Anyways, let's check the rest of this out. All right, so I had to timestamp all these.
I believe
no, you don't believe that. You don't believe
I believe you are a con man of the highest order.
And you understand my business depends on my reputation and on presenting to the public.
Okay. This is con man number 101. Try to find a little legal issue. Grant, I believe you're a con man. That's my personal belief. Hey, Grant, are you going to sick the church? Are you going to sick the church on me now? Because I know the church has a big issue with people that are anti, big players like you. Hey, and are you not the biggest contributor to the church, or no? Is the Top Gun guy still ahead of you?
Why do you attack people's religion, man? I don't understand.
It's not religion. It's part of it's the whole spiel. I do understand that the church will attack those that attack you. Is this part of that?
John, man, bro, you got to get some help, pal.
Okay. Oh my God. So again, I actually enjoy hearing this just because this is kind of exactly what everything stemmed from. And again, what's his name? John did not hold back on this, which I really appreciate. So a couple things he said there, and I'm going to touch base. I've been making notes on this as I'm kind of talking here. First of all, he said, my personal belief is that you're a con. And so I'll just say it's not just my belief, but it's actually my experience. That dude is a fucking con man, and one of the best, unfortunately, not in a good way, but one of the best trained. The other thing is John ate his own words on this, unfortunately. He said, you're going to get the church on me. He starts kind of prodding the church. I don't know if John ever thought that he was going to have the fear put in him by the church. I'm guessing by the comments that he made on here, he had no idea that he was ever going to backpedal, and he didn't think that the church could ever put that amount of fear in him to make him redact his statements like that. Unfortunately, it has happened. It took over a year for it to happen, but it looks like it's in fact happened, because there's no way he felt this passion and had these thoughts and ultimately came to a apology all of a sudden. And not only that, publicly posted it all of a sudden. It feels weird, feels off. When something feels off, it usually is. And this feels off. So unfortunately, when John was talking about, and he was kind of poking and prodding him and saying, you're going to get the church on me. I don't think he had any idea that the church was going to have this amount of power to do so. And it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate that happened. And I hate seeing it happen, but I know that's exactly what's happening. He started making fun of him, saying, aren't you the biggest contributor? I think he is, absolutely. And if there's someone else that we just don't know about it, but he's definitely one of the biggest contributors. And then Grant tries to pull the whole, you're going to attack my religion? Why are you going to make fun of my religion card? Like, let's just be clear. Scientology is not a religion. First, I mean, it's all, that was a tax avoidance maneuver to turn Scientology into a religion. I mean, sure, they believe in some weird shit. Maybe you can call, okay, if you're qualifying worshiping the overlord of, Galactic Federation Xenu, if you qualify that as being a religion, then okay, we'll call it a religion. But I'm not gonna make fun of people's religions, and I'm not going to assume that I'm not religious, by the way, but I do believe in a higher power, and I have beliefs, and I've had some personal experiences that led me to believe and know. I don't even say believe, that have led me to know that there is something else out there, and I'm not going to go into specifics, but I'll tell you this. I just wanted to say that because I'm not religious. However, I have a personal relationship with our Creator. Let's put it that way, and I'll leave it at that. We can get into that another time. Now, that being said, I don't think mine is the right way. If I did, it's my opinion, and I'll never judge anybody. So I don't want to think people. I'm saying that so people get a good understanding of who I am. I'm not going to judge anybody. However, I got opinions about Xenu and Scientology. It's fucking funny. And again, I also have some humor involved with this, and I don't mind poking fun. It's not a religion, exactly. I'm reading some comments here. It definitely is not a religion. And Xenu, come get your boy Grant here. That's pretty funny. Yeah, Xenu definitely has to put Grant in line. All right, last clip here, and then I'll continue my thoughts on this, and we'll wrap this part up.
Go ahead. Tell the church to come get me, Grant. And Grant, how do you think that's going to play in your big opinion about yourself and what people think about you if you're going to go and have this conversation? And he said, I'm a fraud. So if you're that tenuous, you're a fraud, Grant.
Okay, thank you, man.
Can't wait to see you leave now. Go ahead. Take your tail between your legs and head out the door.
I don't remember that part. That's fucking funny. Oh my God. Wow. Yeah, so John's got some balls. I like that. And he's got some good points there too. He said, take your tail between your legs and run. Go hunt it. I'd love to see you leave now. Okay, so he's right. In my opinion, I agree with John. He basically said, like, why anybody, so me personally, this is how I approach things. You could say whatever you want about me. I don't care, to be honest. I'm so confident in my own character and being able to convey who I am as a person that if someone tries to badmouth me and make some shit up that isn't true, I'll let it play out the way it's supposed to play out. I don't care. I'm definitely not going to file lawsuits and scramble around to try to convince people that what they're saying is wrong. I'm not going to tap dance for people to convince. I'm going to just, show up. I'm going to show up as my authentic self and just tell people, like, what do you think? Like, do you think I'm that person? Like, does it look like I care? Does it look like I'm affected by that? And yes, I agree with what John said. The way that Grant is responding to that has some red flags to it and is very suggestive. Let's put it that way. And I agree with that. Anybody who really gets on the defense and starts making moves to try to diminish and muffle stuff like that, it screams volumes. It definitely, it requires taking a closer look at the very least. Let's put it that way. So anyways, there you have it for the people that had never heard that. It's obviously longer than that. It's obviously, there's a lot more that was said on there. And there was also people chiming in through that conversation because it was a public Clubhouse room. I don't know how many people were in that room. But it basically, for those who have never been on Clubhouse, it's just a live chat group that everybody can kind of get pulled up to speak. And Grant and John took over the stage for a while with that and kind of made a spectacle out of it. But yeah, I appreciated what John said. And so I thought he was honestly going to stay true with his convictions till the very end. But lo and behold, unfortunately, it looks like that wasn't the case. And looks like Scientology, I wouldn't say Scientology won. I wouldn't go as far as to say that Scientology won this. However, all right, so this lawsuit, here's what I want to say. The lawsuit in this apology was not about a settlement for money. All this was to make Grant look good. All Grant cares about is looking good. So the apology was to make Grant look good. Again, a lot of damage has already been done. So, I don't think there's anything that can come back from that. However, all the gung-ho, die-hard, bootlicking Grant Cardone cronies and minions, they're going to take this as like, yeah, see, I knew it. Yeah, Grant's always going to prevail. Like they're going to be all for this because the fact of the matter is when you're in a cult and you're worshiping and idolizing somebody that hard and just like that, there's nothing anybody can say to convince you of something else. You don't have an open mind. You're so diehard for this person, this thought process you adopted, their viewpoints, all that you're willing to defend them. It's almost like family, which is why I always make the joke when I have people jump on my comments on Instagram or something defending Grant Cardone or Brandon Dawson or anybody I've talked about. I'm like, get out of here, dude. He's not your dad. Like, why are you trying to defend him like he's your father or something? These are my opinions. And so it's quite crazy. So anyways, no, this settlement, this apology was not about settlement money. It really wasn't. The fear was put in John, and as a result, John was forced to try to pick up the pieces and make Grant look good with an apology letter. Now, fortunately, it was the bare minimum apology. It was the textbook cookie cut apology. So it's not like, because obviously you heard John talking, and if you've ever seen him talk or heard him articulate himself, he elaborates very good, and he emphasizes and expresses himself very well and very intricately. So he would have said more than that. He would have said much more than that if he genuinely was sorry. Matter of fact, he probably would have did like a video. He probably would have done an audio, which, God, I hope he doesn't. I hope I'm not putting my foot in my mouth when I say that. I hope he doesn't, because, like I said, he does articulate himself well. And so I'm glad that the apology just included him writing up some cheap-ass little quick, cookie-cut apologetic letter that probably took his lawyers 2 minutes to type up. There was really no substance to that apology letter. And so any moron can see that, whether you're not a fan of Grant or not. And so, yeah, those are my thoughts. Let's see. Is there anything else I wanted to cover? Not really. I will say, though, I'm going to emphasize this again. I said it once, I said it twice even, and I might even have to say it one more third time. I hate Scientology. And the reason for that is because they're really good at putting pressure on people and putting fear in people. And then ultimately, they're really, really good at making people do things they don't want to do in business, in life, in all aspects. And it's very upsetting to see, and I can't stand it. And I pray for a day where Scientology is shut down and exposed. And, I don't know what it's going to take. I'm really glad that John did bring this out and kind of get some spotlights on Grant for the time that he did. It looks like that time is over. He's done his work. And now it looks like it's Gary Brecka's turn to step up to the plate. Gary Brecka has taken a more professional approach. He isn't very aggressive, or he seems like a good dude. I don't know him that well. I've only met him a couple times. The first time I met him, I did have a decent conversation with him, and he seemed like a very authentic dude. However, as I seen him at some growth conferences and different events speaking, I could tell that he was molding himself and becoming a person he didn't want to, and he was adopting Grant's thought process. Therefore, I was turned off by it, even as someone who was also drinking the same Kool-Aid and brainwashed. So, but I am excited to see, now that I'm not involved with that and I can see the bullshit. I'm really excited to see that Gary Brecka is bringing light to this now, and his approach is particularly intriguing as well. Like I said, with a more professional approach to this. Because it's going to be a lot harder to, I think ultimately it's going to come down to the same thing, a settlement, obviously. But, I hope this carries on, because the longer it continues, again, the real value with guys like John and Gary Brecka talking about the deception and their terrible experience with Grant, or anybody, any one of Grant's partners or anybody in the 10X organization, the real value in that is because they have credibility. Guys like me ain't going to get that much credibility and that much eyes on the situation. But a guy like Gary Brecka, who has a couple million followers, and, he's an expert in the industry, a particular industry with healthcare, that speaks volumes, and it gets more eyeballs on it. And it really starts getting the wheels turning with some people who particularly are fans of Grant or done business with Grant or 10X or Brandon or Elena. It gets them to take a closer look. And so when people are aware, you start to notice red flags. Unfortunately, a lot of us get involved in cults and brainwashed organizations because we're ignoring those obvious red flags. And so when you're able to be open-minded to the fact that you may be ignoring those red flags, you start to see them. And I'm not talking about people who are always looking, right? That's a different type of person where they're constantly looking for something to attack or make into something that's not. But just being aware will take you onto a higher frequency where you can actually see deception and you can actually see some red flags. And those things I said that feel off become very apparent after that. So anyways, last comment here. You said there is no free speech or free thinking when it comes to Grant Cardone or Scientology. I have firsthand experience. Yeah, exactly, Angel. You're totally right. But again, no one's stopping me. So again, you can clip this, save this. Mark my words, you are not going to put the fear in me to backpedal on the things I believe in. All right, what I say is true. I mean what I say. I also have an open mind to changing my thoughts on things. But, a lot of what I'm talking about on this topic, I just don't see that changing because I've just had several years of experience, business experience with Grant and the 10X organization. So it's not going to change unless I see a huge change in them. My thoughts aren't going to change. My opinion on my experience is obviously not going to change because it is what it is, and that's what I broke it down as. However, going forward, if there's people that make changes in their life and the way they do things and carry themselves and their character, their integrity, I notice that stuff, and I do believe people can change. I really hope that's really my ultimate wish for doing this type of podcast is I'm hoping that people with a huge following, like all the people I call out, like Grant, like Andy Elliott, Wes Watson, Ty Lopez, this person, that person, my wish is that one of them has an epiphany and realizes I don't know what it is. Maybe they'll have a coming with God and realize holy shit, I've actually been doing this. I've been hurting people. I'm this is not the way. I want to make a change starting today. And they start publicly talking about their changes. And that stuff is very rare. It doesn't happen very often, but it can happen. And that's my ultimate wish. So I know it's crazy. I know it's expecting a lot. I don't expect that. But if you were to ask me, what are you trying to get out of this? What would you want? What would be a dream outcome out of talking and bringing awareness to these misguided mentors? It would be that for somebody to make a change and then publicly talk about the mistakes they made and how they're going to change it. I did that. That was the first thing I did when I left Grant's organization. I made a public video. You can look. It's still on my Instagram where I apologized to people who I deceived into spending money with me. I said, if you ever bought a course from me, I can think of people who I've done that to. I'm sorry. And if you want a refund, reach out to me. And I had a couple conversations with people about giving them a refund, but I was ready to give out thousands to people that I deceived. And so that's the type of change I'm talking about when you can just start over and publicly make that claim and be like, look, I'm sorry. That's not who I am. I'm going to be someone different going forward. Really, really hope that happens. I appreciate the support. Angel and Sweet Goth, thank you so much. And everybody viewing on the live stream. Like I said, I haven't been able to, on the Instagram live stream, I haven't been able to really check out the Instagram while I'm doing the YouTube. So if you haven't had a chance to join the YouTube channel, Today's Misguided Mentors, I'm going to stay way more consistent at that. Make sure you follow that page. This is it for today. So I'm going to hop off on here. Last comment I'm going to read. Things are starting to change. It's just not coming from the bigger names as much, but hopefully someday. Exactly. And it is actually coming from the bigger names, slowly but surely. Like I said, I'm really glad John did do what he did. I hate to see this outcome right now where he's backpedaling, but he at least did some good. And now it's Gary Brecka's turn. So let's see how long he can keep it going. Anyways, guys, take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. We'll catch you on another episode here in the next couple of days. I'm going to increase the frequency, so stay tuned. And looking forward to chatting a little bit more about these topics, all right?